The Buffalo Bills walked into this game against the New England Patriots not just needing a win, but needing to show some real offensive identity. And instead, they walked out with more questions than answers. Beyond the 3 turnovers and a staggering 11 penalties, Buffalo failed to take advantage of a glaring weakness in the Patriots' defense. And honestly, that might sting more than the loss itself. Because this wasn't just about mistakes. It was about missing a golden opportunity that was staring them in the face the entire game. Let's talk about the passing offense first. On paper, you might look at Josh Allen's stat line and think it was a decent day. 22 completions on 31 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and over 250 yards. Sounds okay, right? He was even 11th among all starting quarterbacks in expected points added per dropback in Week 5. But numbers don't always tell the story. And when you dig deeper, especially when you get into the all-22 film, you start to see what really happened. Dalton Kincaid was clearly the offensive highlight. He caught all 6 of his targets for over 100 yards and was the go-to guy in the middle of the field. Through 5 weeks, he's become one of the top tight ends in the league statistically, with nearly 300 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, and a perfect passer rating when targeted. That part of the game plan worked. But the problem is, that should have been the entire game plan. The Patriots were rolling out their elite cornerback duo on the outside, and it was never going to be a day where Bills receivers were consistently winning one-on-one matchups on the perimeter. And frankly, that was no surprise. Anyone following this team knew that coming in. The mismatch was in the middle of the field, tight ends, slot receivers, running backs, going up against New England's linebackers and safeties, who have struggled in coverage all year long. It was a massive schematic advantage, and Buffalo just didn't lean into it. When New England came out in base defense, which is not their strength, Buffalo actually got them into that look 14 times. On those 14 snaps, the Bills ran the ball 12 times, averaging under 3 yards per carry. They passed it just twice. Want to guess what happened? 20 yards on one play, 23 on the other. That's right. 2 throws, 2 big chunk plays. And then they just didn't go back to it. Now let's break that down even further. When the Bills used 11 personnel, that's 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Josh Allen was 15 of 24 for 163 yards and a touchdown. Solid, but unspectacular. But when they shifted to heavy personnel, 2 tight ends or 2 backs, he was a perfect 6 for 6 for 77 yards and picked up 5 first downs. That's almost automatic. And yet, for some reason, that wasn't the formula Buffalo leaned on. Instead, they kept throwing from looks that didn't create the mismatches they needed. This was a game screaming for heavy personnel to force the Patriots into uncomfortable matchups and let Kincaid, Knox, and the backs work the middle. It's not like it was a mystery. The numbers showed it before the game. The tape confirmed it during. And still, the Bills chose to go with an 11 personnel heavy game plan that played straight into New England strength. Now look, when you're behind the sticks, because of penalties or negative plays, that limits what you can do. But the Bills weren't behind the sticks the whole game. They had opportunities. And in a matchup league like the NFL, you win by attacking your opponent's weak spots. Buffalo just didn't do that. They stuck to what they wanted to run instead of what they should have run. This team has often taken the approach of, we don't care if you know what's coming. We're going to execute it better than you can stop it. And that works when you're dominating. But when you're not sharp, when the execution is a little off, that arrogance can burn you. This was one of those weeks. The run game, outside of Josh Allen scrambles, was largely ineffective. They ran the ball 29 times for just over 100 yards, but over 50 of those came from Allen's legs. James Cook had no room to work. The Patriots stacked the line and played downhill all game long. Their plan was simple but effective: clog the run lanes, force single blocks, and dare Buffalo to find space. They weren't even trying to fill the backside. They just played straight downhill and trusted their second level to clean it up. And it worked. Cook had his worst game of the season in terms of yards after contact. The Bills' offensive line struggled to get any push, especially inside, where guys like Christian Barmore were disruptive from start to finish. There was no consistent rhythm to the ground game, and part of that was because Buffalo didn't stay two-dimensional out of heavy formations. When you're only running out of big personnel, It's easy for a defense to key in and stop you. And the Patriots did exactly that. Now, to be fair, the Bills did a few things well. They converted 5 of 9 on third down, put together some solid drives, and racked up over 360 yards of offense. But none of that really matters when you're giving away possessions with turnovers, killing yourself with penalties, and refusing to attack your opponent's weaknesses. That's how you lose winnable games in the NFL. Josh Allen, for his part, had a mixed bag. He made some incredible plays, extended drives with his legs, and delivered some big-time throws. But he also made a couple of decisions that flat-out cost the team points. The interception into double coverage on 2nd and long. That's a throw you can't make. At worst, you live to fight on third down. Instead, you walk away with no points in a game that came down to the wire. And then there were the moments late in the game where Buffalo had a real chance to go for the kill. 1st and 10 at the Patriots' 27-yard line. They dial up a screen to Khalil Shakir. The numbers weren't there. New England had 4 defenders over 2 blockers. That play had no chance. Then on third down, Allen bails out of a clean pocket and misses Curtis Samuel wide open for what would have been a go-ahead touchdown. It's moments like that where execution, or the lack of it, changes the entire game. The Bills had the chance to take control. They had the matchups. They had the personnel. But for whatever reason, game plan, in-game adjustments, or stubborn philosophy, they didn't use it. And in this league, missed opportunities like that are hard to swallow. The frustrating part is that the formula wasn't complicated. Use your tight ends. Work the middle. Force the Patriots' linebackers and safeties to cover. The data backed it. The film backed it. Even the in-game results backed it. But instead, the Bills leaned too heavily on a game plan that never gave them a real edge. And when you pair that with 3 giveaways and double-digit penalties, well, it's no wonder they walked away with a loss that should have been a win. When you turn to the rushing offense, it becomes even clearer how much the Bills left on the table in this game. On paper, they ran it nearly 30 times for just over 100 yards. But that number is misleading because over 50 of those yards came from Josh Allen scrambling out of structure. The actual designed run game, the core of what they tried to do on the ground, was flat. It lacked rhythm, consistency, and most of all, identity. And it's not like the Bills don't have talent in the backfield. James Cook has been effective this season, but against New England, the blocking wasn't there, and neither was the creativity in the play calling. Cook only had 2/3 of his carries come with Allen under center, which has been a key to his success in recent weeks. Last week, every single one of his rushes came from under center, and it worked. But this time, the Bills strayed away from that approach, and it showed. New England came in with a clear defensive plan to stop the run. They weren't trying to get exotic or confuse the Bills. They were trying to force single blocks and take away the cutback lanes that have fueled Buffalo's rushing success in the past. Structurally, the Patriots played with discipline and smart positioning. They set the edge, crashed gaps, and stayed in their lanes. And what made it even tougher was that they created layers of defense. Their front 4 would hold the line, their linebackers would fill cleanly, and then they had safeties hovering just behind them. It wasn't flashy, but it was effective. The Bills loved to work combo blocks and create movement at the line, then have Cook find a crease and burst through. But the Patriots clogged everything up. There were no cutbacks, no bouncing to the outside, no lanes to exploit. They just swarmed to the ball, and the Bills didn't have an answer. Adding to the problem was the lack of two-dimensional threat out of heavier personnel groupings. When Buffalo lined up with multiple tight ends or a fullback, it was a tell they were running the ball. And if the defense knows what's coming, it's hard to succeed in the NFL. The Bills needed to be able to pass out of those same looks to keep New England guessing and create space. But they leaned too heavily into one-dimensional sets, and the Patriots keyed on it immediately. When you don't force a defense to respect the pass, they load the box and take away the run. That's exactly what happened. And that plays into a larger issue with the offense, predictability. The Bills have this reputation of being a dynamic, explosive unit, but too often they fall into patterns that defenses can pick up on. They want to be able to line up and out-execute you. But when the execution isn't flawless, when the blocking isn't perfect, and the timing is off just a little, the whole thing breaks down. And that's what happened in this game. The Patriots knew where the runs were going. They knew what the Bills wanted to do, and Buffalo never countered. Now, zooming in on Josh Allen again, his legs kept drives alive. His movement outside the pocket gave the offense life when it was stalling. But that also speaks to the underlying issue. The passing structure was inconsistent. Allen was forced to improvise too much. He bailed out clean pockets, sometimes needlessly. There were at least 2 critical moments where he left a throw on the field because he got outside the play design too early. The biggest one came late in the game, tied score, 1st and 10 in field goal range. Curtis Samuel was wide open downfield on a deep over route, working into open grass. The pocket was clean. The throw was there. But Allen rolled right, got out of rhythm, and never looked his way. That's not just a missed opportunity. That's a game-changing moment. Hit that throw, and you're up by 7 instead of settling for 3. This is what separates great teams from good ones, the ability to capitalize on those moments. The Patriots didn't do anything special to win this game. They just didn't beat themselves, and when Buffalo opened the door, they walked through it. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't execute in the big spots or adjust when the game demands it, you're going to lose games you shouldn't. And that's exactly what happened. Defensively, there were some bright spots. The rush defense held up well. New England averaged just over 3 yards per carry and didn't break off any explosive runs. The Bills played with more stacked boxes than usual, and it paid off. Guys like Deion Walker and Greg Rousseau stepped up in a big way. Rousseau was dominant against the run, stacking up tackles for loss and showing why he's such an important piece of this defense. And it's clear that Walker is starting to figure it out. His technique, his leverage, his ability to split doubles and hold the point of attack. That's starting to show up on tape consistently now. And it's a huge development for a young player who's had to grow up fast. But while the run defense was solid, the pass defense told a different story. The Patriots quarterback, Drake May, looked calm, poised, and surgical, especially in the second half. He completed 14 of 15 after the break and didn't miss a single throw in the fourth quarter. The Bills brought pressure. They actually pressured him on 44% of his dropbacks, which is a strong number. They sacked him 4 times. But it wasn't enough because when it didn't get home, the coverage on the back end broke down. Over and over again. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In what could be one of the most surprising moves of the season, whispers from inside the NFL are pointing to Drake May making a shocking decision that has left fans and analysts buzzing. Sources close to the young quarterback suggest that May, who has been the subject of speculation throughout the offseason, has reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. While the official confirmation is still pending, the rumor alone has sent social media into a frenzy, with fans dissecting what this could mean for both May and the Bills' roster moving forward. May, known for his impressive arm strength and composure under pressure, has been on the radar of several franchises, each rumored to be vying for his signature. Yet, Buffalo seems to have pulled off what insiders are calling a stealth move, quietly negotiating terms that could lock him in for the next 3 seasons. If true, this signing would not only inject fresh energy into the Bills' quarterback situation, but also signal a bold strategy by the front office to secure a potential long-term franchise leader. The timing of this move is fueling even more speculation. With the NFL offseason in full swing and teams maneuvering for key positions, May's decision could have a domino effect on the quarterback market, forcing other teams to rethink their plans. Analysts are already debating how his skill set fits into Buffalo's offensive scheme, with some suggesting that his mobility and deep ball accuracy could open up new play-calling opportunities for the coaching staff. While no official announcement has been made, sources say that both parties are eager to finalize the deal, hinting that fans may not have to wait long for confirmation. In the meantime, the mere possibility of May suiting up in the Bills' colors has sparked heated debates across sports networks, online forums, and social media platforms. Could this be the start of a new era in Buffalo, or is it just another chapter in the ever-unpredictable saga of NFL rumors? Only time will tell, but for now, the buzz around Drake, MAYE, and the Bills is impossible to ignore. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.